I want to help those that are in a narcissistic relationship right now and talk about the 3 tiers that you will go through and face when you truly decide to walk away and you stick to it and carry through with it. Because I want you to be prepared for some of these already if you haven't already tried to make attempts to leave and experience some of them already. Because I believe, if I'm not wrong, statistics show that it takes someone on average between 5 to 7 attempts to leave before they're actually successful in walking away from a narcissistic relationship. Because when you actually and truly decide to walk away from a narcissistic person, it escalates their manipulation tactics to try to regain control. And they wind up taking you through these 3 core tiers in an attempt to stop you from doing so. And the first core tactic, that's a real sneaky one that I need you to look out for and be aware of whenever it's happening, if you're in this circumstance, is love bombing. They will try to love bomb the hell out of you to get you to rethink your decision and think you're going crazy and second guess if you are accurately evaluating the relationship and that you're not just tripping and it's you just overreacting to things in the past. And really, the foundation that you fell in love with in the beginning is still there, actually. Now they're showering you with affection, gifts, compliments, promises of change, all in an attempt to recreate the initial stages of the relationship when everything felt perfect. And it's used to confuse you by providing a full sense of security with the idea of rekindling this ideal relationship, making you second guess if leaving is the right choice. And if that doesn't work, they move on to stage 2, which is guilt tripping, to where they start to play victim all of a sudden and start doing things like bringing up past sacrifices they made for you to make you feel guilty for walking away. Saying things like, "How can you leave me after everything I've done for you? You're so horrible." Or, "I'll be lost without you." This is a very powerful tactic because it really tugs on your heartstrings and emotions tied to guilt. That's big for us as humans because how we self-identify is everything. And none of us wants to go to bed at night self-identifying as a bad person, right? Because it starts to scrape on your sense of morals and principles, your value structure that gives you your identity to feel good about yourself as a person. So whenever your partner is kind of guilt tripping you and, saying that they sacrificed so much for you and you're walking away or that they'll be lost without you, you start to feel the sense of responsibility for their well-being now, right? To where you wind up staying out of a sense of duty and obligation and compassion and not love. And if the first 2 don't work, they go on to the last stage, number 3, which is threats and intimidation. When all else fails and they start to become more desperate, they turn up and start upping the ante, right? Then they start doing things like making threats, maybe emotional blackmail, saying things like, "I'll hurt myself if you leave," or more direct threats towards you, or even threatening to ruin your reputation or expose personal, private information about yourself to people or publicly or whatever. And they can become very hostile, raging, screaming, throwing things, becoming irate, throwing tantrums, doing anything they can to try to instill a sense of fear in you, to create a sense of danger around you leaving, either towards yourself and your well-being or towards their own. Because ultimately they want you to believe that the consequences for leaving are a lot more severe than the pain of staying. So this is why it's a huge deal for you to be aware of these levels so that when you're going through them, you know how to navigate them. And the first key piece is always recognizing your value and the love for yourself. Do not ignore that pain you've been feeling. I don't care what kind of tactics they try to use. You know what's not been feeling good for you and been toxic for you and depressing for you all this time. Give that its due diligence and attention because that's your inner you, your inner spirit, your inner child trying to scream, "Hey, help us." Don't ignore it, right? Focus on that first, all the pain associated and what you need to do to not be in that pain anymore, which is leave and get out of that situation. You have to keep that in your mind first. Write down a statement to remind yourself of it if you need to. Then the second piece, you have to create boundaries that you're going to set and enforce. Right? You have to start protecting and creating like a construction site around yourself to create space to nurture and nurse your mental space you need to be in to walk away, to prepare to detach from all this toxicity that they're going to keep trying to infect into your system. Right? And then after you set those boundaries, right, you got to keep as low and minimal contact as possible. If you live with this person, you got to keep the interactions down to a minimum as much as you can. Stay out of the house as often as you can if you need to give yourself the space, energy to breathe and to connect with the right supporting people in your life that can help you get away from the situation faster. Anything that's going to support your mental space of walking away and not staying. That's what you got to do. If you need help building the muscles to walk away from a situation like that, or just a relationship you're struggling to leave anyways that you know is not good for you, either email or DM me coaching and we will get to work if you're ready to put the work in. Let's get it.